Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir. Good evening.
You are welcome. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Can somebody help us to recall where exactly we stop? I know we have started. Okay, let me hear from one of you who can tell us, to be precise, which topic we treated last in our last session. Can anybody try? Can anybody try?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes, I can try.
Okay, go ahead.
We treated application standard bar and the tabs on the application standard bar.
Okay. All right. So, which simply means that we have started looking at Microsoft Word environments. Okay, so let's quickly go there. Now, if you can still remember, we started with general introduction to Microsoft Office Word, and we defined it as an application software, in fact, an office application software, which is mainly used for word processing, which means it falls under EDP tools. Remember, we have taken our time to explain that is the electronic data processing tool. And after that, I also explain various methods you can use to launch the application once it has been installed in your computer. We'll talk about using the shortcuts, that is using an icon probably you have created on the graphical user interface, uh, or you use the program manager. All right. So I also talk about those templates that you can exploit to customize your documents. Then after that, we started looking at Microsoft Word environments. And I explained the reason why it is important at this level that we are, visiting this particular application to be assumed to be the first time. Our first assignment is not to start understanding the functions. Our first assignment is to familiarize ourselves with the application interface, which I advise that to be the standard when you are being introduced to any form of application for the very first time. And that will make you that will get you familiar with the interface of the app. And then I started identifying various parts that makes up the Microsoft Word interface. Started from the application title bar, which is the whole of this part, where you can see the name of your document, where you can also see the name of the application you are using, where you can also access these control buttons. Now, remember that I took my time to explain the functions of each of these buttons. So for those that were not in that class, it is expected that by now they must have gone through the video. And they will also identified the application standard toolbar, which is this section, which I said where you can actually customize the most recent or the most used command. Those commands that there's no way you would type that you are not going to use, such as save, opening, document, probably undo and redo, and I explain if there is a command that you want to customize on the standard toolbar and you cannot find it here, you can always go through the more command, and that will take you to this section where you can, probably choose the one you want to add. For example, I want to add this, click on add, and then it will migrate it, and then click OK. You see that the icon has been added here. So we also talk about the ribbons tabs. Talk about the ribbons. I said computer-wise, or probably when you are using Microsoft Word, we refer to this, the whole of this session, as the ribbons. So the ribbon is actually made up of tabs, and the tabs are made up of different commands that you need when you are processing Word. And I walk us through some of them. For example, all this that we are currently seeing, they are attributed towards home tabs. In other words, these are properties or commands under what? Home. So if I go to insert, and that will display a different word command. So we can say that all these that we are currently seeing, they are insert word command, and so on like that. So we just have to know that these are like different rooms, different locations where we can actually access different functions or command that may be needed when you are processing your word electronically within the page. And then I'm not sure if I have explained the properties bar. Somebody should confirm. I don't know. Maybe I stop at the standard toolbar, right? Please, somebody, I think somebody help. I've forgotten what he mentioned the other time. I just want to.
Yes, you stop at application standard bar.
Good. So which means that we stop here. How to customize it, how to relocate it. So which means let's start from the tabs. So let's start from the tabs. Let's start from the tabs. So we are still on understanding Microsoft's Word environment. We are trying to identify each of the segments or section constituting different command that you need to know, that I need to know, that will be of help when we start processing. So let me start from here. So these are the tabs: the insert, the design, the layout, the reference, the mailing, the review, the view, the help. The whole of this, they are called tabs. Now, that particular section that is holding them together is called the ribbon, or we say that the tab bar. But each of them are referred to as tabs. So we can see tabs as different rooms or different storage or locations where a user can actually access different commands. Now, I want to give us this advice as a way of helping us to master this program faster. Now, one of the secrets of understanding programs with tabs is that each time you are making use of a function under a tab, you don't just focus on that function, you also focus on where that function is located. For example, now I type welcome to Digitech Zeal Hub. Now, there are challenges here. Number one, the first challenge is that this D should be in capital letter. All right, so, or I want to even switch the entire letters towards uppercase, because that is called uppercase. So the question is, I have a challenge here. And what's the challenge? I want to increase the size of this entry, number one. I also want to change the case. Whether it is in capital letter or a small letter, in word processing, that is referred to as case. So right now, this is sentence case. Sentence case is the case that has been programmed by default, which states that if you type a whole collection of text, which we describe as document, it is only the first letter that will be what? Capital letter. And that is what we have here now. So if I'm to change from the sentence case to lowercase, or from lowercase to capitalize each word case, or to toggle case, or to uppercase, this process of switching from one appearance to another in word processing is referred to as change case. So which means that if I want to change case, I need to highlight, but I have not started explaining the function. I'm just using this to explain the reason why it is important that we understand what we have across these tabs that I am currently explaining. All right. Now, I want to change case. So the first question is that under which of these tabs I can locate that command. That should be your priority. All right. So most of the basic word transformation commands, they are under word home. All right. So you go to home, and then from home, you will see this particular one that have the capital letter A and the small letter A. If you click on the drop down, you will see the different category of cases that I mentioned. So right now it's in sentence case. So if I go to uppercase, you see that I have been able to change everything to what? To capital letter. Now you can see how I'm able to what? To access it without wasting time. Why? Because I have already taken note of where this command resides. So it's one thing you should understand. All right. So these are tabs. These are tabs. So you can see that under home, we are able to what? To exploit the case. We can also exploit the size. We can also exploit the alignment. And now there is something we need to also understand. I think I should draw our attention to it at the moment. For example, each of the tabs has groups. Let us take note of that. Each of the tabs has group. What does that mean? The functions under a particular tabs, they are sub-segmented for certain reason. So you need to understand the set of groups under the particular tab you are using. For example, we are using home tab. Under home tab, we have this group called what? Clipboard. We have this group called what? Font. We have this group called paragraph. We have this group called style. And then we have this group called what? Editing. Now, anything about font is talking about what? Transformation. Those commands that can act as catalysts. Why did I refer to them as catalysts? They don't change themselves, but they have what it takes to change order. For example, if I click here now, this is for underline. The underline has not changed, but is able to what? To change something else. This is color. So most of the transformating command, they are under font. That is why in data processing, the word font means what? Appearance. It means the design. All right. So now we understand that each of these tabs has group. So if I move to insert, you see that insert now have its own groups: page, tables, illustrations, add-ins, media, links, comments, header and footer, text, and symbol. Now, once you understand this group under this tab, it makes your work very simple. For example, if I am looking for symbol, maybe I want opening brackets here, I shouldn't waste my time beating around the bush around illustration. I should know that anything that has to do with shape, drawing, that is what? Illustration. All right, so I'll know that, oh, I have symbol here. So I can just quickly come here, I'll pick the symbol I want to use. All right, so that is about tabs. So the takeaway here is that even as we understand what tabs are, we should also know that each of them comes with different what groups. To pay attention to what you have under each of these groups. I hope I'm following. Can I get a response from one person? Maybe I should just call name. Abio Martinez. Can I get a response from one person, please? Just to know if you guys are getting what I'm explaining.
Yes, sir. We are following, sir.
Okay. All right. Okay. So that is tab. So now we understand tabs. Example of tabs. We have home tab. We have insert tab. We have design tab. We have layout. We have reference. We have mailing. So just know that the whole of this side is called tabs. Now the next thing is let's identify the next section. So the next part is the tabs properties bar. The whole of this part is called the tabs properties bar. Now, once you understand tabs, then this aspect become very simple for you to understand. Look at the way I describe it. Tabs properties bar, which means that whatever you are going to see within this section, this is the height from here to this, and then the width is from here to here. Now, that is the tabs properties bar. Now, by definition, I can say the tabs property bar is that section that varies its own content or command, because what you always see within this place, they are not static. All right, it varies depending on which tab you are currently selecting. Now, why I'm seeing all this right now, because I'm on what? Mailing. The moment I move to home, the content change. All right, so that is why it's called the tabs property bar. So officially we can say this section display the content of any selected tab. This section displays the content of any selected tab. So why I'm saying this? Because I'm selecting home. Why I'm saying this? Because I'm selecting insert. Why I'm saying this? Because I am selecting design. By the time we start looking at those commands, you will see me coming to these tabs based on the challenge I want to address, and that is how it is. So now that we understand that, let's shift our focus to identifying another component within Microsoft Office Word environment, which is an important component called the ruler bar. Ruler bar. So let's talk about the ruler bar. We are still trying to understand the environment of Microsoft Word so that each time we are here, we have some confidence in handling it. Now, what is the ruler bar? The ruler bar is not currently active. It's not active. So, which means that the first thing I need to do is to activate it. How do we activate it? Now, look at it. The logic is very simple. We want to see something that we are not seeing, and there is a tab that is telling you view. So you should know, oh, that is where it is. So if I come here, you will see that what? This is the ruler. So I click, so the ruler is now active. This is the horizontal ruler. This is the vertical ruler. Now, let me explain to us the importance of these rulers. Okay? Now, let me see if I can use a diagram to illustrate something for us. Let me delete this for now. Control N. Let me just ask for, sorry, coming. Now, I want to give us an illustration, because there are a lot of things I'm going to explain anywhere from now that this illustration will help you to understand. So this is a grammatical representation of your electronic page, which is this place. Because we are not seeing all the side, that is why I'm sketching this diagram. Now, you see this place is called top margin. You see here is called right margin. Then here is called left margin. Then, of course, the down here is called what? Bottom margin. Here is called bottom margin. Here is called bottom margin. Now, the whole of this place here, this is the allowed space for your writing. This is the allowed space for your writing. Now, let's understand something here. Even the exercise notebook that you purchase, you will agree with me that by standard, they will have ruled what some of the margin. Some, they will have given you all the margin. Now, looking at the principle of data processing or word processing, any material you are using to write, you must set aside margins. Though once I'm done with this interface explanation, the next topic is going to be setting up your page, where I'm still going to be mentioning all this. Now, the reason is that that document you are processing might be spiral what? Binded, or they will spiral bind it. Now, which means that if you don't leave this space, by the time they spiral bind it, you are not going to see some write-up. That is why whenever you buy some textbook, you have to start opening it very well before you can see something. That tells you the quality of the person that processed it. All right. Now, these are the margin. Now, you see, if I come to your page now, you see this is the width. This is the width you are allowed to use. That is, your cursor start running from here. And then it will be coming. When I say cursor, I'm talking about that blinking icon. Which, as you are pushing it, as you are entering more information to be going, and then once it gets to this place, it will automatically do what we call soft return. All right, so soft return is where the cursor is allowed to force itself, that's the keyword, itself, to the next line without you pressing the enter button. So now that you understand this, now let me clear this up and show us from the document. So this is the left margin, this shaded portion here, that represents the left margin. Now, this shaded portion here represents the right margin. Now, if I go to the vertical ruler, this shaded portion represents the top margin. And then if I scroll down, this one represents the bottom margin, looking at that diagram I gave to us. So which means that if I start typing now, look at it. So my cursor is what? Accommodating characters. Now, the moment it gets here, I'll return to the next line by itself. That is what I describe as soft return. Now, what about if you get here and you are done with what should be on this line and you press enter? In electronic processing, word processing, what I did now is called hard return, which means what? If you check some keyboard, instead of writing what? Enter, what they must have written there is what? Return. Return, that is the keyboard manufacturer that understand what I'm telling you. So if I type and I press enter, I just what? Hard return. All right. Now, what I am bringing here, supposing I do not have my ruler display, let me go back to view and turn it off. If I am typing, I want you to know why activating your ruler is very important. You can see that as I'm typing, I don't have idea on exactly where it's going to stop before soft returning because I'm not seeing the shaded portion. Well, that does not mean that it's not going to work. Let's keep going. It knows just that it knows where to stop and where to start from. All right. So what I'm saying is that ensure that your ruler is always active. It has a way of giving you some important information while you are processing your word. So like as it is now, I have already know the length of whatever I'm going to type, looking at this white section to this section. Looking at the shaded portion, I've already know the space that I am leaving as margin. All right. So when we get to page setup, I will teach us how you can adjust it, because there are some documents you'll be given to type that this setting cannot handle. It will not require you readjusting it. All right. Because by default, Microsoft Office has already given you a template, but that template may not be able to handle all types of what document you might be given to type. All right. So now we understand the importance of ruler as the next section. Now, the next part we want to talk about now is the page. The next part is the page. The page. Now, as a word processor or a typist, you must know what is called page. What we are calling page in Microsoft Word is what we know as paper. As paper that you normally use to write. But this one is called electronic paper. All right. So the whole of this white environment is called the page. So how do we define the page? The Microsoft Word page is your workspace where you are allowed to input entry and also what? Transform them or modify them. So the two basic functions of the page, number one, is to allow you to receive what? Input from you. Number two, it has the ability to change those information with the help of the commands you have under the tabs. So your responsibility as a typist is not just imputing value. It's not just imputing value. It's about, okay, after you have imputed, if there is need to change it, do you know the command to call? Do you know, let's say I want to reduce the size now. Do you know that, okay, you can reduce it? So the responsibility of the page is for allowing entry and also what? Modification. All right. Now, let's quickly discuss the properties of the page. While you are on the page, there are two signs that you must understand their fundamental functions. You see this young man that is blinking, you must know the communication. You must know what he's saying. Now, why is he blinking? As he's blinking, looking at it, I should know what he's telling me. What he's saying is that it's called prompting. All right. So it's like, I am waiting for you to use the space that I am currently what? Blinking on. That is why the moment I type, it moves. That is called cursor. So the work of the cursor is what tells you, it's what informs you where the next information you are going to type will appear. So if I make mistake, maybe I'm supposed to put P before W, and I've already moved away from that current position to somewhere else. For me to go back to that very location where I want to correct the error, I must control the cursor. And how do you control the cursor? That takes us to understanding this one that I'm moving. You see, this one that has this dot, this one that doesn't move until I move my mouse, is not the same with this. This one is called cursor, while this one is called insertion pointer. Insertion pointer. So the work of it is that it is used to regulate, it is used to control the cursor. For example, now, the cursor has moved all the way from here, and now it's currently here. And you want to draw the attention of the cursor back to what? Between E and L. Maybe you omitted E, for example. So you have to use, if you check your keyboard right now, you will see by your right hand side, 4 arrow button. One is facing up, one is facing down, one is facing left, one is facing right. So if you don't want to use the mouse, you can use the arrow. Now, I want to move towards my left-hand side. Now, looking at the current place where the cursor is, then it suggests, and I want to add A between E and L. So which means that I'm going to use the left arrow button until I get to where I want to insert it and then press the letter A. So I've corrected it. Then for me to continue, I have to use the arrow again to take it away from that place. So that means that that insertion pointer is used to control the cursor. Any question? Any question, please? If there's no question, are we following? Let me just get a response from one person. You don't need to wait until I call your name. If you are the first person to unmute and respond, I will appreciate that so that we can move on.
We are following, sir.
Okay.
I'm following, sir.
All right. Thank you. All right. Now, I've explained the page. Now you know what the page is. You cannot process Word without having a page. Now, let's also talk about the next section, which is this section, the last part here, where I have this page 1 of 1, where I have this word, where I have the word proof. Now, we also have this zooming meter, where I can, let me quickly explain this one before I talk about this. Now, let's assume that you use glasses and you would like to view your entry in a magnified way. So which means that if you are on this kind of view, you see where I'm clicking, that is reducing the page view from the status bar. So the whole of this place is called the status bar. Now, if I click on this plus, it will continue to what? To zoom in. Then if I click on this minus, it will continue to what? To zoom out. All right, so this is the standard. Now you need to be mindful of the zooming percentage you are using. If you are typing and you are using anything above 100, if you are not using glasses, if you don't have either short sight or whatever, you are supposed to stay on 100. 100 is the actual. There's a reason why that 100, if you don't have any eyes issue, work with 100. Because if you increase it beyond 100, it has a way of affecting one's eyes. All right. So there are some persons that, particularly those that are working in business center, they type a lot, which means that their face is always on the screen. So my advice is that you get there's this glass just like the one I'm using, reading glass. So it is important if for any reason you are going to place your eyes on the screen beyond 4 hours. Let me not even say 4 hours, 3 hours, as in without taking it off. I'm not talking about you walk for like 2 hours, you go outside and then balance your iris, you come back. I'm talking about some of us typing customer work because the work has come and we are happy with the money we are making. You see all this happening in business center. They will just be typing student handout for money tonight. They will not take their eyes off of the screen. That is very, very dangerous. All right. With time, it's going to catch up. When you get to like 55 or 60, most of those things will start showing up. So, so just be mindful of the percentage you are using. I'm talking about the viewing. Now, we also have some layout here. Layout means how you want to view whatever you must have typed. By default, we are on this layout that say print what? Layout. Print layout. talk about the print layer. Now, the print layer is the standard, is the best layer. Why? Because it's the layer that allows me to see the both ruler. I just spoke to us the importance of the ruler. Why using a layout that does not allow you to view the ruler? For example, let me go to this reading mode. You say what reading mode? Look at what I have under reading mode. I can't even see any of this. Now, as the word implies reading, if somebody sends you a document, you are reading, maybe like students, you have a material, you are reading, so you want it to be big. That's why it's called reading mode, but not writing mode. When you are creating the document, you shouldn't stay on that mode. All right, now we have the web layout. We have the web layout. So if I click here now, you see that the web layout managed to give me a bigger workspace, but it eliminated the vertical ruler. It's your choice. But that's why I said this is the best layer, because it allows us to view both the vertical and the horizontal ruler. All right, now let's come to the right side, to the left side of the same standard toolbar. Now here, there are important information that we need to be aware of. Now, you should know why it's saying page 1 of 1. Now, what it's saying is that the whole of this document has just one page, and you are currently in that one page. Now, let me show us how you can add more pages. Let's say I go to insert. I go to insert, and then I click on what? Page break. Look at it. The information has changed. It's now showing what? Page 2 of 2. If I click on the page break again, you see what? Page 2, 3 of 3. If I click on page break again, or you press Control Shift and press what? Enter. That's the shortcut for adding more pages. You hold down the Control plus the Shift and hit the Enter button. So if you hit the Enter button 10 times, while you are still holding down the Control and the Shift, that we continue what? Adding. Now we have 16 pages. Now look at where the cursor is. If I move it from here now to this place, the configuration has changed. What am I having now? Page 15 of 16, which means that what? The total numbers of pages that you have under this document. See document as a book. See it as a book. Now, inside the book, I have what? Pages. Inside the book, I have pages. So I can pick Mr. Paul documents. Under it, I have what? Different pages. I can pick Mrs. Rita document, and under it, I have what? More pages. So you need to understand. So now if I come here, look up. If I come to my file and I select what? New document. Now that is like I just pick another book, and under this current book, I have just one page. Then if I touch here, you see all the books that we have called so far. So if I come back here, I think from here I can locate the one with the 16 pages. So you need to understand the communication. Sir, at what points this place will help me? If you are processing a document for someone, and the person is asking you that how many pages has it entered so far? Because probably the person is conscious of how much is going to pay. Because I know in commercial business center, they are charged per what? Page. So you don't need to come here. Look at what you are going to do. Someone who do not know that you can get the information here. What you are going to do is that you will now scroll up, and then you now start scrolling that counting 1. When you now get it, say 2, 3. You don't need that. You should know that there is a place where you can easily get that information. So you tell the person that this last one here, talk about the total number of pages. Why this one? Talk about the current page that cursor is. So what it means is that right now I am typing on page 13 out of a document which was 16 pages. So I've explained that. Now the number of words, if you double click on this, you will see the full analysis. Sometimes when you are writing this online exam, they will tell you that your words do not exceed 450. most of those interfaces are built like Microsoft Word. So they must have added this command that counts the word. So you can see once you click on it, it will give you the full analysis. Then if you are typing, maybe, for example, now I type prosper, and I'm not sure if prosper is correct. I'm not sure if prosper is correct. So let's say I type P. I want to deliberately make some mistake so that I will see the work of those icons there. So as I'm typing, so let me remove because if I remove S, it will mean proper, which is still. Now you can see that what this normally does is to how do I put it? To check your spelling error. We call it grammatical what? Error. So it's like a dictionary that is built in Word that helps you to check how accurate your English words are. So if you are writing your name now, your native name, Word is going to what? Underline it with red. And once it underline it with red, it means that there is an error. So you need to be mindful of once you see any section of your writing showing red underline, there are two things it means. Basically, the first thing you should consider is the spelling error. All right. So if it is grammatical error, sometimes to give you a blue. If it is grammatical, if that line that is showing red is blue, is grammatical error. Then if it's showing red, you should suspect what? Spelling error. Now, but thank God for electronic method as part of the advantage. It has what we call auto suggestion and correction. And how do you make use of it? That is what this icon is doing. Word found what? Proofing error. So if I click on it, you see that what? It will automatically suggest that is this something like this you are trying to type that you now made that mistake or this. So if this happens to be the right one, you just click on it. You see that what? It automatically what? Correct it for me. All right. So that is the work of this icon. Now, remember that if I want to go back to that error, I'll press Ctrl Z. Now, if I don't want to use here to correct it, I can make sure that my cursor is blinking within that word where I have that red underline. I will just right click. Once you right click, that is automatically giving you the function of this, and then you can pick from any of the suggested options. All right. So that is to explain what this one is what is talking about what macro. Macro is, I don't know how I'm going to explain it. What we call VBA, Visual Basic Application. We use it in Excel. That is the programming language that Excel use to construct all those functions that you use. So if you learn that VBA, you can say you don't want to use Excel inbuilt sum. You want to create your own function that you can use whenever you need it. So I also train on VBA professionally, but I use it for data analysis. Okay, so now let's go to the next one. I think with this, the remaining parts to talk about before we start looking at those word processing command is the scroll bar. The scroll bar. You see, this is called vertical scroll bar. So the work of the scroll bar is to allow us to move vertically and what? Horizontally. All right. But I want to point out something here. You can see that currently I don't have horizontal scroll bar. The reason is that I am currently seeing the two sides that I am supposed to regulate or control with the horizontal scroll bar. So Microsoft Office Word is very sensitive to know that if you are already seeing the two sides, there is no point of me giving you the horizontal scroll bar. But definitely, your vertical scroll bar will always be constant. So you can click on it and hold down the button and move faster, or you move gradually. You can, if you want to move down gradually, because when you are previewing your document to your clients to check for spelling error and other issue, You don't need to move too fast. So at that point, if you are using this, the person will complain that you are moving too fast. So what you do, you continue clicking here to be moving it gradually, and then the same thing here. Now, for the horizontal scroll bar, if I want to see it, I will just zoom to the point that I am not seeing one of the side. Automatically, the horizontal scroll bar will be introduced. So let's try together now. Let me start zooming gradually. Watch out. Watch out. Once you get to the point where we are no longer seeing either this side or this side, automatically it will be introduced. Watch out now. Can you see it now? Good. So you now have it now. So it allows you to see what? The side of your document. I hope I'm still making sense. Any question? Any question? Any question?
Yes, sir, please. This we have a text with red color. How do we change it back to the black color?
Okay. Now, do you know the particular page we were on that? I think it was page 13, Abi? It was page 13.
Yes.
Good. Now, let me show you something. You see, there's a challenge I'm facing here now. That particular text is in one of those pages that I've scrolled from. Now, I want to access it. The learner or the beginner will be doing something like this. We click and then be scrolling like this. Meanwhile, you know the particular page where that error is, like the way you just responded, that is at page 13. Now, all I need to do is to press Ctrl G. Once I press Ctrl G, what is going to happen? As I hold down the control button and locate letter G, you see that it brought out what? This dialog box telling me page section. So I want to jump irrespective of where I am. I want to go straight to what? Page 13. I'll type that 13 inside. And then I click on what? Go to. So I'm here now. I'm not sure this is where the write-up was. All right. So which means that since we are not sure, let me go to the first page. It's possible that in the first page. Now, if your intention is to go to the first page, you don't need to press Ctrl G. Just look at your keyboard. You will see home. By your right hand side, you will see home, you see page up, you see page down, you see end. Now, if I want to jump from where I am to the first page, press down what? Control what? Home. You see that what? Look at, this is where you know where you are. This is 1 of 6. So which means that right now we have jumped from page 13 to what? Page 1. All right. So the write-up is not also here. So let me type it and make that mistake again for us to correct it easily. So what is asking is that if, how do I correct? I believe I'm correct. What you are asking is that how to correct this error. Is that what you are saying? Can you come again, James?
No, it's how do we change the color back to the black one?
Okay, good. To change the color, you highlight it, you go back to your home, you change it, you click here, and click on black. Exactly. You understand?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so all right. So so these are some of the ways you can move. So you can write it down, movements within the page. For those that are writing, right? Movement within the page. After this topic, we'll go for 3 to 4 minutes break. And then when we return, I am going to start a new topic, which is understanding Microsoft Word, basic word processing command. So we can start because I'm going to give us assignment before the next class. Every one of us must have completed a letter. So you are going to look for already processed or typed and printed letter that have the 2 addresses. You type it complete. Everybody, you type it. All right? Those that are using phone, go to Google Play Store, download Word, download Excel. You can install them on your phone and still use them the way we are using them on the system. All right? Now, you type it and save it. Leave the error. The next class, I am going to allow each of us to share their screen. Then we are going to correct those errors together. So that is how you can really learn this program. If you are learning this program and you are not typing, there is a possibility of you not really knowing it. You need to type, because it is when you type that this error will show. If I have not typed, I wouldn't have known that, oh, I can correct this by right-clicking. So you must type, right? And the typing speed that you have obtained here is that same typing speed you are going to be replicating in Excel, in PowerPoint, once we are dealing with entering of information. So the better you, the earlier you work on your writing speed here, the better for you. So that you will not even be typing on WhatsApp. You don't type fast because you are not a fast typist. Okay, so let's just write this and take note of these movements. I just feel that there are some details I need to give to us. Movements on the page. So you should know how to move around the page. Number one movement is how to jump. How to jump. Number one movement is how to jump from. We take note of these, are very important. If you are typing a document that is up to like 100 pages, you see the way you'll be wasting the customer time, because you say or she say go to page 10. You are now scrolling. So write this down because it will help you. So jump, how to jump from last page to first page. How to jump from last page to first page. Okay. Now, the solution is that you press control button plus. Now, this plus does not mean that you go and type plus. If I say control plus S, it means that you hold down the first one that is mentioned. You press it down. That is the meaning. If I say control plus page, now in this case, I'm saying control plus home button. So you locate home on your keyboard. So which means that between control and home, one of them should be pressed down while you press the other one once and remove your hand. Now, which one do you think we are to press down once? Can somebody unmute? Between control and home, which one we are to hold down? Let me know if you understand that communication. Which one we are to hold down?
We from the keyboard, we press the control key and press the home key.
So yes, I know which one we are holding down. You know, we cannot press two of them once and remove our hand. We have to hold one down and then before we tap the other one. Which one are we holding down between control and home?
Oh.
We are holding down home. Is that what you are saying? Let me ask.
The control.
Yes, control. Mrs. Wakusu, I've not heard your voice today. I hope you are good over there. Sorry if I did not pronounce that name very well. I hope she's here. Okay, Del. I want to hear from Del. Del, between control and home, which one are we holding down? I want to hear from Del. Okay. Del is not also here. Okay, so you got it anyway. Now, if I say control plus S, who can tell us what is going to give us? Control plus S. That is, you hold out the control and press S. What will be the problem?
I think C.
Good. Is to save. Okay, good. That is to save. So let's understand. Now, if I say control plus shift plus F, how many buttons will be pressed down? Let me know whether somebody can.
3.
Hello, who is speaking?
It's 3.
Sir. Hello, sir.
Yeah, I can hear you.
if we are pressing a control plus, where is the plus? I want to locate plus inside here. I mean,
Good.
where do we get
That
plus?
is why, please, feel free. This is master class. If you don't understand anything, thank God the way you spoke out, because I know some of us will have that issue. And I know I've said it before. You see, this plus that you are seeing here, you are not pressing it. That plus is just a way of interpreting my communication. So when I say control plus, it means that what? Control and another button. You are not pressing plus. That is why you hold down the control, then locate shift and press it. So do you understand it? So you are not pressing plus. So did you understand it, sir?
I got you. Yes, I got you, sir.
Because the manual I sent to you, there are a lot of shortcuts there. That's what I'm trying to explain so that I won't go there. And we are going to discover more of them. I can actually put everything in that manual. So you need to be taking your notes. So that is the meaning. Now, I was asking a question that in this case where I have control, I have 2 plus. Which one are we holding down? Are we going to hold only control and press shift and F and release our hand, or we are going to hold down the control, the shift, and press only F once? Can somebody unmute and reply to that question? Let's make it interactive.
You hold control and the shift and then play the F.
Good. So let's try it now. You see what it's going to bring. Control, shift, and F. Just hold on. You see what it brought out now, which means that is the command that will bring out all this. All right. So all these shortcuts that are under fonts, paragraph, they are derived. They are coming from that dialog box that came out. Let me press again. Control, shift, and F. So you can see, for example, I can highlight a text and come here and change the size instead of me using here. I can highlight a text and press these 3 buttons and come here and change the handwriting, or come here and change the color. But because most of them are already here, so I see that as I see it as a long journey. All right. So with time, we get to know shortcuts. But like I said from the beginning, I'm not a fan of learning shortcuts before learning the direct way. All right. Not that I don't know shortcut, but I pay attention to understand. For example, instead of me learning shortcuts on how to color a text, I should first of all know that this is where the function is. Then I can now attach what? The shortcut. That is the order, not being good at shortcuts. When they say, where is the command here? You can't find it. That is not the right way. Okay, so we are still on the movement. So now, the first movement, anytime you are in the last page and you want to jump to the first page, I say you press what? Controls. Now that we have settled that. Control plus what? Home. So there's the button label home. That is what we do it for you. Now, the next movement that you should know is the reverse case. How do I now move from the first page to the last page? Like I advise us to take note of this, how to move from the first, right? The first, sorry, how to move from the first page to the last page. The shortcut is what? Control. If you are joining with your laptop, you can be trying all this alongside. Control plus end. If you check your keyboard, I think that same line where you have the home button, you see the end. So let me try it now. Control and that end. You see, that has taken me from what? The first page to what? To the last page. How do I know? You check your communication here. 16 of 16, which means that you are currently in what? 16 out of total what? Number. So if I want to go back now, who can help us now? I want to go back to the first page. Who can tell us the button I'm going to press? Control what? Control what? I want to jump back to the first page from the last page.
Control plus home.
Home. Good. Now, you see, now then the next movement is what?
The next one is how to now how to move to a specific page, not the first one, not the last one, in between, provided you know the name of the page. How to move to a specific page, provided you know the page number. That is the criteria. If you don't know the page number, then you have to go back to your scrolling. Now, let's assume that we are asked to jump to page 12. So we are jumping to page 12. So to go to page 12, I'm going to type what? Control plus G. So this is the shortcut. This is the command. Once you want to go to a specific page, you press what? Control G. So let me press it now, Control G. So when it brings out this, you put that page number. Let's say I'm going to 12. And then you click on what? Go to. Right now we are in 12. The same thing, you are in 12, but you want to go to a particular line in that 12, if you know the number of lines. So you go to line, you say, okay, I want to go to line 12 in that page. So it will take you to that particular line. So assuming we have type information now as we are doing this, or you want to go to the footnote, you put that there. So, but the one we use most is what? Page and what? Line or section. So it's when you have document that you can actually utilize all this. So we are going for 3 to 4 minutes break for us to refresh ourselves, those that want to take water. And then when we come back, we are going to take a new topic, which is very, very, very important. In fact, that is the main. Okay, so let's see. So when we come back, we are going to look at what? Document setup. Document setup. So when we come back, so let's go for just 3 minutes break. Make sure you do not go. So let's quickly round up with this topic so that the video is not too long. What is document setup? What is document setup? You know, like I told us from beginning, most of the things we are learning here, they are still going to be applicable to Excel. So let us spend reasonable time taking them bit by bit, knowing that indirectly, we are not learning only one app. At the moment, I can tell you for sure that you are learning Word and Excel and PowerPoint together, because most of these things are repeated there. So if you understand them here, then I will not need to blow too much grammar before we can cope in Excel. Now, you can see that what I mean by document, I have already explained what document is. What document is. Now, when we say document setup, we are talking about that particular file you are given to type. Let's say this is the drafts, the data, the one somebody have sketched, have drafted. I say, go and type this. How do you set up this particular workspace such that it's able to what? To process exactly what you are given. There are certain considerations. There are certain factors that need to be put into consideration. You know why? Because there is no way I can teach you with all the document what types. You want to type CV now. What is the standard margin setup? You want to type formal letter. What is the margin? What is the margin standard style? All of this can actually be calculated once you understand this logic I'm going to show us. All right. Now, document setup is the art or the process of adjusting the default office settings in order to fit what you are given to type. What are the three things you should always consider each time you are setting up your document? Three things to consider are: one, you consider the what? The page margin. The page margin. Two, you consider what? The page orientation. Then finally, you consider what? The page size. The page, or you can say paper size. All right. These are the three things that makes up what? Document setting. And you know what? These are not the things to put in place before typing. Sorry, after typing. These are the things to put in place before typing. So which means that it is not normal for somebody to have finished typing a whole letter before choosing A4. And meanwhile, you must have typed that letter with a paper that is bigger than the A4. So what the person is going to experience is that the document will adjust. And then the initial standard that he or she has maintained will disappear. The person will now start arranging from beginning, trying to make sure that everything enter 10 pages, whatever, when he or she could have sorted that by setting up the document before typing. So as he or she is typing, everything is falling in place. And that is why I said it's very, very important. There are a lot of people that will just open MS Word and start typing. That is totally wrong. The only reason why you can tell me that you open MS Word and you start typing is you agreeing with me that that follow come setting align with what you want to do. Not that after typing, you tell me that, this is supposed to be portrait too, and it's not landscape. That is totally wrong. All right? So that's why we must prioritize what? Document setup. How many things I said are involved? Page margin, page orientation, and paper or page size. Let me quickly walk us through each and every one of them. How do I, supposing I open Microsoft Word and the default margin cannot type what I want to do? How do I change it to suit my own? Because there are issues that will arise that will lead to this. Number one issue is that the client you are processing that document for is telling you that he or she does not have money. That please let everything not exceed 10 pages. You see that condition? That condition will force you to adjust these things that I just mentioned. Because the person is saying that I don't have money. So if the margin that came is too much, look at the margin that we have here, from here to here. Knowing that this line now that we have now, that is the one line. Now look at this one line. By the time I reduce here now, look at it. This is what happened. Initial one line has automatically what? Enter what? One line because of what? Wrong margin setting. So when the customer is complaining that, I beg, I don't want everything, I don't want the document to exceed 10 pages, then you have to what? Set your margin. That's why I said what? The three of them are very important. But this manual one that I'm using is not professional, because the law of setting up your margin says that whatever amount of space you are leaving for the opposite should be equal. For example, now the left is facing the right, the top is facing the bottom. Capture the diagram that I started with. So what the law is saying is that if you are leaving 2 inches here, this space must be 2 inches. You know why? So that your document will be centralized. How will you feel somebody type a letter for you and then you discover that the letter is on one side? It's not positioned at the middle of the entire paper. Somebody can reject it. So you don't, these are the factors. So if you are giving here 2 inches, here should be 2. If you are giving here 1, then the bottom section should be 1. So let's quickly look at the practical step for those that are writing the steps on how to set margins. How to set margins. Number one step, once you have opened Word, you go to layouts. The three of them are under layouts. You don't need to waste your time beating around the bush. The three of these features are under layout. So go to layout. This is margin. Now, you see all this that you are seeing here. These are default margin, except you have done a custom margin. That is when it will be captured. Now, Microsoft Office Word assumed, based on statistics, based on different documents some people have typed in the past, that most people use normal, while some use what? Narrow, while some use moderate. Looking at the diagram, you can easily tell which one is going to give you more typing space and more margin. You see, your focus must be, if you are increasing the margin, always know that what the given working environment will also be reducing. Two of them cannot increase at the same time. You cannot increase the margin and have a bigger workspace. What am I saying? Look at this. This is the workspace now. So if for any reason I'm increasing the margin, what is happening to the workspace? It's reducing. If I'm reducing the margin, what is happening to the workspace? It's increasing. These are basic principles we must understand when you are setting up your page. I hope somebody is getting what I'm explaining. Can I get a response from one person, please? Are we following? Anybody can?
Yes, sir. We're following.
Okay, good.
We're following.
Good. Now, what is going to happen is that once I click here, if I can test run. Look at this. Let me click here. You see the margin now. You can see the way it adjusted now. Let me reduce it from 170. Remember, I just told us how so that we can be seeing everything. Now, let me go back to the margin. Take note of the amount of space you are having now. Because the purpose of all this already made is that some of us, we don't have time to type. We just come here and just adopt one of the default. We move on. Why some, we say that none of this can handle the work. This is where you are typing maybe mirror, like those kind of pamphlet, like all those tracks that will be folded. All right, that is where you use this one. So that whatever you type, when they print it, this place can fold it. But if it's just a single standout page, use any of this. Now, if I click here, you see that what? It reduces. Now, if I have gone through all this, none of them can handle my work. That is why Microsoft Office Word has given you custom margin. Now, the moment you click on that custom margin, then you must follow those principles that I was highlighting. Now, look at it here. Now, you are under margin. Top is 1. What is bottom? 1. But left is 1. What is right? 1. So you can see the standard. Now, for any reason, I want to change here to 2. And I click OK. Look at what happened. Did you see what is happening here? You are no longer having what? Look at it at the top. Look at the space you have here. Look at the space you are leaving at the top. And then when you go down now, you see the space you are leaving. This is not going to give you a well document. So now, if here is 2, here must be 2. That is what the law is saying. If for any reason you are changing here to 0.5, which will be the least, any value you are putting inside any of this should not exceed what? 0.5. You know why? That parabinder, that plastic something that they used to hold, the one that has hold and the one that clips. The least, the smallest one, the width is what? 0.5. As if you measure it. That is the reason why we are advised not to go below what? 0.5. So the law says that here, because it's opposite, left is opposite to right, must also be what? 0.5. Then before you click OK, you see that what? I now have equal space here, have equal space. So that is the standard for setting up what? Margin. I hope that is clear. Now, let's go to orientation. Let's talk about orientation as a second. I just want to treat these 3 and then I stop there. Let's go to orientation. So what is orientation? Orientation means the placements, the structuring of your document. Let me break it down. When your document shape look like this is orientation. This is called portrait. When it look like this, like a horizontal object, this is called landscape. Now, in word processing, there are scenarios where you use this. There are scenarios where you use this. If the person is telling you that, please, this document should not exceed 10 pages. I don't have money. Please don't use this. Because this one can only take what? If you are using under your size here, font size, under font size. If you are using 12, 12 font size to type. This one will give you 16 lines. If you are using that same 12, this one will give you 22 lines. So which means that a document that has entered one page here, there's possibility of entering what? 2 pages here. So this is the reason why the person will be crying that, I don't have money. And please, you must be sincere, because I remember those days when we were growing up in tech. I noticed that some business center, because of the pressure that is always mounted on the typist, that you are paid according to the number of documents you process per day. Those days in Lagos, you see somebody deliberately increase using landscape so that it can generate more money for him or her. But that is wrong. That is wrong. So the person is not being professional. What I'm saying is that you are to help your client to save their money, not to spend their money. If you are running any business and you are helping your client to save, as in to spend their money, then you will soon be out of business. You are supposed to help them to economize, not to help them to consume it anyhow. So if somebody brings document to you drafted on paper, you count the number of lines. Once it exceeds 16, please use what? Portrait. Don't use landscape, except the person himself or herself say, please use landscape. And then you will not reply the person. There's a reason why I wanted to use, because your work will enter multiple pages if I'm using landscape. Say, no problem, I have the money. Good, it's no longer your fault. All right. So all these things is not just learning their function. You must know different situations where they should be used. That's why you see me explaining. I'm trying to, cite some real life situation where you might be asked to touch them. So you don't touch them anyhow. You touch them based on demand. All right, based on some calculation that must have been done. Okay, so that is landscape. Now, by default, you see that what? Your document is already programmed on portrait. So let me reduce this so that we can understand it very well. Let me do this. Look at this. Let me reduce this. Let me reduce it so that we can see very well, so that when it flips, we will understand. So this is portrait by default. So if I come here now and I change to landscape, you can see what has happened. So you have switched from, so you can easily switch from landscape to portrait, from portrait to landscape. So that's it. Because most time, when somebody comes to you, they will give you a document to type that is already on portrait. So if you don't know this, you might be lucky that nobody has ever asked to be landscape. The day somebody will come and tell you this document should be landscape, you will know that learning what you are learning now is very important. All right, now let's look at the last one, which is paper size. Now, we have two types of documents, soft copy and hard copy, and the journey starts from soft copy. You know what? If at the point you are typing the soft copy, you did not capture the paper that will be used to process it, to have adjusted the page size, then you are going to face some challenges. So if anybody give you what to type, there's nothing wrong asking which paper size will you use to print it. That does not make you unprofessional. That you are asking, please, do you have an idea of what the paper size that will be used to print what I'm about to type? If you say letter or A4, then before you start typing that word, you have to come here and select what? A4. So that by the time they put A4 paper in their printer, it comes out exactly the way it is. Because sometimes a lot of people just open MS Word and type with letter. Now look at the differences. The reason why they are always escaping is this. Why the owner of the work has never find what fault is that, look at the side. The width says what? 8.27 by what? 11. Look at it. Almost the same. The letter is almost the same thing with what? The A4. So sometimes when you type with letter and you print with A4, everything will look good. You think that you did the right thing. Meanwhile, you did not. You did not. You are supposed to come here and choose the right paper. I hope that is clear. So this is where I am going to stop. Now the assignment, because what I want to do is that before the next class, I want to see how some things must have stressed you. Maybe that document you want to type, how it must have stressed you, trying to get some things on your own. Then by the time that next class is going to be, all these functions is what I'll be discussing. Their functions, how we can use them while typing. So that then, once, as I'm explaining them, because they have once you have tried on your own before, it will easily stick. So the assignment I'm leaving us with is that everybody, please, if you can discipline yourself, don't say that this man is not going to flog me, so let me not do this. Just try and type a letter. Type a letter. I'm talking about a letter that you can download it to, you can download JPEG, and maybe should I download and send to us in the group? Everybody will copy it. I think I should do that, right? I should download a well-structured letter and then send it to the group so that people will not say that you don't know how to. I think that's what I'm going to do. So somebody should remind me. In fact, let me see if I can quickly do that now. Let me see if I can. So you can ask questions now while I'm trying to sort this out. I want to quickly get a sample and then post it in the group for everybody to follow. If you have any question, please ask. We are rounding up once, but after the question aspect.
I have a question, please.
Okay.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Like this document you are teaching us, what one does not have a printer at the moment of typing, and he wants to maybe send it to his Android phone and take it to cafe. How do we do that?
Okay, so what you are saying is that try to, yeah, I can download this. Please call with the question again.
I said that, like, take for example this letter. After typing it, and I don't have printer at home, so and I want to go and print it from the cafe outside. How do I send it to my Android phone before taking it to cafe outside for printing?
Okay, so there are various ways you can actually send it to. There are various ways you can actually do that. There are various ways you can do that. Now you have it in your phone and you want to, want to send it from your laptop to your phone so that you can take it to cafe. Now what you are going to do is that one, you can use USB cable. You can connect USB cable to that laptop, to the phone. Then from there, you can now, but if you are connecting the USB cable, you know, there's a message that will always pop up. There's a message that will always pop up. That message, you will see something like share, allow the device to share file. Then you turn it on, because if you don't turn it on, you'll be seeing the name of that device, but you will not be able to access the content. So once you have turned it on, then you should know where, once you have turned it on, you copy the file. Let me see, I'm going to show you something like this. Let me see, I can try to explain what's now. Now, once I've connected the phone, I'll click on this file explorer. Then you go to this PC. You will see the name of the phone here. You see the name of the phone here. Now, once you can see the name of the phone, let's say this is the phone. You double click, it will open. Now you are in the phone. Meanwhile, that particular file in your, let's say this picture now, this is the file. You right click on it and then you copy it. Right click on it and copy it. Then copy it. Then you now go to that phone. Then remember I say go to this PC, identify the phone, then open it. and then you right click while you are inside the phone. So maybe you can choose where you want to keep it. All right. There will be different folder there. You choose one of the folder and then you paste it. So with that, the design is already, or the document is already in your phone. Now, when you get to the cafe, what they are going to ask you is, where is the work you want to print? If you tell them it's in your phone, they will now use Bluetooth. Some that know how to configure Bluetooth will use Bluetooth. Or they will still use that same USB method to what? To transfer it back. I hope you are with me, sir.
Yes, but my network is disturbing small. I am following you.
So that is what you will do. That is what you do. You either use Bluetooth or you use, you can also use WhatsApp. If WhatsApp is connected to your laptop, you see, that's what I did now. If you have installed WhatsApp in your laptop, you send it to somebody's WhatsApp message, DM. Then when you open it on WhatsApp, you just download it. For example, now I just sent this particular document here now. So if I want to download it, I will just click on this icon here. I will select what? Save as. And then once I select that, it's going to bring out the storage. Then I will choose, okay, I want to save it to desktop. Then you click on save. So depending on, so there are several ways you can actually do that. Either Bluetooth, or you use USB cable, or you go through WhatsApp. I hope I've answered your question the way you can answer so that we can handle. Any other question?
The question I want to ask is, when you are typing, what's the font size you need to use? Either 12 or 14 for a normal official letter.
When you are typing official letter, though we are still going to talk about them, these are the things that will make up the next class. But let me just answer you quickly, little. Now, official letter, you are to use, the document has 3 sections, depending. We have the main heading, we have the subheading, we have the body. So the size you are using for the main body, the main heading rather, should be different from the subheading. The one of subheading should be different from the content. So you can create a kind of hierarchy. Now, the main heading should not exceed, the highest you can use is 22. Then there should be difference of 2 down, as the case may be. But just make sure that your main heading, if it's CV now, say, okay, curriculum vitae, that is the main heading, or your name as the main heading. It should not exceed 22 by standard. Then the subheadings can stay between 16, 17. Then the content, 12. The reason is that for visual purpose, because there are old people that when the text is too small, they will have issue reading the content. So you have to stay in between. You don't process for only the younger ones. Because if you have to be younger ones, if you use 10, they can still see it, but the older ones cannot see it. So we're still going to discuss. These are the things that will make up the next class. That's why I say you should go and type first. Then I will now be correcting some of these things, the way of also learning. People will bring their different document that they type, different mistake they make. As I'm correcting them, we are also learning. I hope I've answered your question, sir. Hello.
Question, sir. If like for example, now you send us this letter now, I want to type. Are we to type it? Maybe we are using laptop to type, and you send it through the WhatsApp.
Yes.
We can open it and update it on the typing session, then start correcting it.
Yes, exactly. You don't need to send it to me. If you are going to join that day with your laptop, just save it in your laptop. I will ask you to share your screen. I'm going to be correcting it directly from, but except those that are typing with their phone. That means you will send, even with your phone, you will share it from your phone. I will allow you to share. All right, I think with this, we are good to draw the curtain. And I'll keep encouraging us to, like I said, I think there is a session on the data analytics, which is this that is coming up, I think next week, Monday. I've actually allowed free for the first session. So tell people around you that need this program. Data analytics is one of the top trending test skill. After this basic data analytics, cybersecurity, AI automation, these are some of the trending test skills. So you can tell your friends, share the handle, help us to post on your status. We will appreciate that. Okay, so that first data session is free. It's free, so they should come and join. If the class is good, they feel that it's worth paying for, to pay a token to continue the training. All right, so good night, everyone. See you in the next class tomorrow. When is our next class? When is our next class? I think it should be Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah, good.
Thursday.
Okay. So you have between now and Thursday to type something, please. Try and type and type. All right, good night. See you Thursday.
Good night, sir.
Bye.
Good night, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.